Wow. Can we play the video, please?
Yeah. Mistura Allison, gbogbo nǹkan tó náwó léyìí ẹlẹ́dàá mi èmi afsat Aramide àmọ̀pé lókè ẹ̀ wàhálà àánú òní tẹ́ òní tí àti èyí ló máa ṣe gbogbo ayé ló máa nífẹ̀ẹ́ lọ́tún lọ́sì gbogbo ohun tó dẹ̀fẹ́ lọ́wọ́ máa ṣe fún ẹ ọmọ olóògbòjò ọmọ eléégún ṣe kétéwèrè bàbá mi ẹ̀ṣọ́ gbin agbágbó àtàdúrékè bàbá mi ọmọ olówó ọmọ ajíbọ̀sì ọmọ àrèmátàì ògbóni mi ò délé alárògbò sọ̀rọ̀ aṣọ ọmọ àtẹniwíjọ kí wọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ má bàa dálẹ̀ owó awúnú pè ara kí ara àgbèjù bí ọmọ ìṣọ́pọ̀jù mi tọ́lọ ẹrú ní sìnì ẹ̀kọ́ kì í sìyàn wàá ṣeéṣe o wàá ràánú ojú òní tiẹ̀ ọmọ alẹ́sìn wàá ràánú gbogbo tó bá fọ́ lé lọ́jọ́ ayé ẹ̀ èmi ìyá ẹ̀ Aramide àmọ̀pé ló ń sọ̀rọ̀ wàá rí ṣe ibùjókòó lóore ló máa lọ ò ní síléwọ̀ anybody tó bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ rajà aráàánú ojú òní tì ọ̀la kábà ọ̀la bẹ́kìlàtìf ọ̀la aláìlá ilẹ̀lá Muhammadu Rasulillah sallallahu alaihi wasallam àbó wà lórí yín ó wà lórí ẹ̀ lẹ́yìn eléyìí fùrùfùrù náà máa ṣubú ẹ̀ náà máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ́tún lọ́sì ó ní kábàámọ̀ pé kí ni mo ṣe léyìí sí ayọ̀ ló máa rí pẹ̀lú ẹ̀ṣọ́ Ọlọ́run.
Thank you. Notes and praises as a way of seeing and recalling. Good afternoon. I want to express my gratitude to the path makers of this historic gathering. Simone, who hears and is heard, thank you. Rashida, who knows her path, thank you. Sadia, she who is destined to be a blessing, thank you. Tina, she who is a conduit of vision and care, thank you. To all who have tirelessly worked behind the scenes so we can be here, thank you. To all Black women, my trembling vessel keeps overflowing because of you. I'm honored to be among you. Thank you. Okay. Comforted by what Sandra described as a room of care, I'd like to offer a challenge to the Western art historical canon through humorous oriki, praise poetry, as a method of storytelling and visual analysis. We begin. Tinko, Tinko. On this land, I welcome the invitation of Elder Braithwaite to imagine and recall with magic. We are greeted with warmth. Kabo, Yami, Omomi, Egbomi, Aburomi, Kabo. On this land, no one asks us, chi ti ha dato il permesso di soggiorno? Who gave you permission to be here? Primo canto, Aramide, my people have arrived. This was sung by my grandmother. On her tongue, she recalls threads of humorous contradictions, stories of us and them, how they try to turn the mangrove into the place where the other resided. She taught me how to recite praise poetry to see, recount, and remember. Awatani Yoda. Let's call them Konyoju. She whispers of how since their antiquity, they describe I'll start again. She whispers of how since their antiquity, they described their intervention and invention as a place of romance, exotic beings, haunting memories, landscapes, and remarkable experiences. Explorers of other land fed their imaginations with literature and travel reports. She asked me, how is it possible that Konyoju thought they could understand this land without song and meaning? My name is Aramide. My people have arrived. Secondo canto, Olabisi. Joy is multiplied. It has increased. Joy perseveres. A place of imagination, pleasure, and sensuality. A place of desires, often used as a pretext for the creative fantasies of artists. The attempted invasion of Otherland 2 years before Kunioju's journey was an event of an enormous international significance. This was the first Ile to be annexed by the West, and June 1830 set the pattern for the way in which Awon Ile were to be carved up by Kunioju's peoples over the next 100 years. What's interesting is that at the time, the invasion was not a grand design for imperial expansion. The pretext, like any good story, was for the invasion was a story of revenge. 3 years prior, in 1827, my grandmother, Black, woman, and sovereign, irritated at Kunioju's refusal to repay loans from past wars, attacked Kunioju's council with a koboko whip, shouting, "You're wicked, faithless, rascal." She's fierce. Of course, the Kunioju newspapers were enraged. National honor had to be avenged, and Otherland had to be taught a lesson. But of course, the actual motivation for the invasion were political, economic, religious, and cultural. Politically, the adventure to Otherland was a somewhat cynical attempt to divert attention away from the Kunioju's weak and unpopular regime. Side note, he was overturned a month later. Areobale. Economically, Kunioju traders wanted to expand outwards from the trading posts they already had. In religious terms, Otherland was seen by Kunioju as a confusing space suited by a range of differences. My grandmother sings in my ear. Kunioju's motto is, till today, I don't want peace, I want problems, always. And finally, the cultural motivation. Dynamic, modern, and vibrant Kunioju conceived of itself as a coherent nation-state with a superior culture. In contrast, Otherland was looked down upon as a failed state. She interjects, a failed state is a state with no song, poetry, and praise. A failed state has no rhythm. It doesn't communicate with drums. On this land, joy is multiplied. Olabisi. Terzo canto, Yetunde. My mother has returned. Kunioju's voyage of 1832 is the most famous and striking example of oversabism. Upon arrival, Kunioju immediately attempted to translate the experiences into words and images. The amazement of the stunned visitor to use the words from the letters was prompted principally by the inhabitants. What especially struck them the most was the discrepancy between the Otherland that they were hearing through Oriki and the one that they had successfully represented in their previous work. So what kind of glimpse did Kunioju offer their audience of the occupation that awaited them? This enigmatic painting, heavy with warm colors and distant gazes, complicates itself not in its pictorial structure or violent motion, but in the infinite variety of texture and pattern painted in the lavish fabrics and decor. Although they turn their eyes away, the women do not submit expectantly to an evaluating gaze. They are lost in their own thoughts, detached from one another, minding their business, drinking their water. They engage with each other through telepathic oriki. Together, the lack of a figural corporeality and the silence established an impenetrable quality or a feeling of resistance to revelation despite expectations. Konyoju reflects that perhaps such a mood implies the difficulty found in penetrating the culture, and alternatively, a respect for the culture they knew to be incompletely understood. My mother has returned. The image assumes the dimensions common to history painting, yet it possesses the sobriety, stasis, detail, and texture of a portrait or even a still life. As opposed to Konyoju's previous paintings, the work appears more subdued and rectilinear in composition. The three figures lie close to the picture plane, rather than in a view from a window, corner, or keyhole. The women recline amid finely detailed objects in a jewel-like interior, fully dressed in sumptuous fabrics that give no indication of their physical form. The three women lean or recline horizontally, further confusing the lines and volumes of their bodies. Quarto canto, Atinuke. She's taken care of from conception. 3 elements, a watch, a cut mirror, and a half-open door present them with a problem of interpretation. The sovereign black woman, Iyami, seated in the middle, wears a watch on the left side of her breast. The watch has a cursive inscription, "Time is a colonial construct." The watch, therefore, becomes a detail that does not allow for a merely stereotypical reading of the painting. Instead, it is related to a system of exchange, of trade, the trade precisely that imperialistic representation might want to bypass or neglect in favor of a representation that would support the claim for the necessity of Konyoju rule over an otherland. Thus, otherland comes to a function in a transnational framework, insisting on exchange instead of a location perceived as immutable. The second element is the mirror. High on the wall, on the left, a Venetian mirror, slanted or tilted towards the scene, depicting the sovereign woman. My grandmother instructs that the mirror can again be coded as an outside brought to bear on them. As the white spot in the right-hand corner of the mirror shows, the mirror functions as a reflection on or off the scene. A scene of women, self-content, inaccessible, but full of attraction to men in search of object love, is coded as a slanted and cut Konyoju representation of black sovereignty. But the stereotype of the black sovereign woman waiting to be loved undoes itself immediately by means of the awareness that this scene is nothing but a fantasy, the mirroring of an outside representation on the part of Konyoju. This is reinforced by the third element, the half-open door of the closet on the left wall. The doors half open incites the desire to see what is inside, to know the content of the closet. Moreover, in a way, the door also represents an act that already took place, the act of entering and intruding into our business, our space of universal nodding, recognition, and care. There are whispers singing of how when we gather, black women are taken care of since conception, intergenerational. Quinto canto, Ifama, a very good thing. The elder black woman, Iyawa, is not merely the one who displays the other 3 women for the eye of the spectator. Instead, she herself participates in the scene she shows. She does this by the repetition of the decoration of the half-open door in a dress. She acts as a kind of intermediary between spectator and spectacle, between outside space and seclusion. The decoration of the dress links her to the door of the closet and thus gives rise to a circular reading of the painting. The black woman's dress leads us back to the door, which in turn is linked to the woman on the left. Grandmother's lullaby while she ties a gele. I am blessed to be a former sister. She gifted me the latest lace. She is indeed a very good thing. Sesto canto. Ayo adekpeju. The crown is full of honor and joy. I don't want to conclude, but I'd like to humbly offer this. I'm trembling. Other land has passed down songs of sovereignty. Other land dances to the rhythm of talking drums, telling her stories the way another land taught her. Other land has a form that only us recognize. Kabiesi. Other land is the crown that is full of honor and joy. Other land is the very good thing that loopholes. Other land is taken care of right from conception. Other land is the mother who has returned. Other land is joy that is multiplied. Other land are my people that have arrived. Chi ti ha dato il permesso di soggiorno? Other land is here. It is full of the woman I come from. This song that I belong here. Thank you.